Hey everyone, welcome to part 126 of my Pokemon game series in Unity. So in this video, we look at how we can switch the boxes from our storage UI. So you'll be able to store your Pokemon in different boxes like this. All right. We'll also look at how to transfer Pokemon to the box if we already have 6 members in the party. And we'll also fix some issues that we currently have in the box storage UI. So let's get started. So first let's fix some issues that we currently have in Pokemon storage. So the first issue is if I take a Pokemon from a slot and then if I press back instead of placing it into another slot, then that Pokemon does not return back to the slot from which we took it. Right. So that is the first issue. And the second issue is if we try to select an empty slot, then we get a white image here. So that should not happen. So let's fix both of these issues. So to fix the first issue, we just have to update the UI if we press back while moving a Pokemon. Okay, so we're putting that Pokemon back to the correct slot, but the problem is we are not updating the UI. So let's also update the UI. I'll call these two functions after putting the Pokemon back. All right, so that should fix the first issue. And for the second issue, when we call the take Pokemon from slot function, we should only execute these lines of code if there is a Pokemon in that slot, right? So whether it's a party slot or whether it's a storage slot, we have to make sure that that slot contains a Pokemon. So from here, we can check if Pokemon is equal to null. And if that's the case, we can just return. So here we have to return null. So yeah, we can return and we don't have to execute any of this code. Okay, so let's also do that from here in case if it's a storage box. All right, in both cases, if a Pokemon is not present in that slot, we can just return. All right, so let's test and see if these issues are fixed. Okay, let me open up the box. And now if I press back, you can see that the Pokemon is going back to the slot. All right, we can also try it from the storage slot. And yeah, that's also working. And now I can also select an empty slot. All right, so those two issues are fixed. So next, if we catch a Pokemon when we already have 6 members in a party, then that Pokemon should be automatically placed in the box, right? So let's implement the code for that. So if you look at the Pokemon party script, here when we add a Pokemon, we are only adding it if the current party has less than 6 Pokemon, right? Otherwise, we have to add it to the storage. We had already written a comment here saying that the Pokemon should be added to the PC once that's implemented, right? So let's go ahead and do that. So to add the Pokemon, we can't just use this add Pokemon function because we don't know the slot and box to which we have to add, right? When we're adding a Pokemon like this, we have to add it to the first slot that is free, right? So let's create a separate function for that. I'll create a public function called add Pokemon to empty slot. So the function will take the Pokemon to add. All right. And from here, we have to find the first empty slot in our storage boxes, right? So since the boxes are a 2D array, We can easily find that by using two for loops. The first for loop will loop through the boxes. So here the variable will be box index, and we have 16 boxes, right? So it will loop from 0 to 16. And by the way, instead of hard coding 16 over here, let's put it in a variable. Okay. And I'll make this variable a constant so that it can't be changed anywhere from the code. And I'll also create another variable called number of slots. So that will be 30. And here, instead of hard coding 16, we can use number of boxes and number of slots over here. All right. So the box index should loop from 0 to number of boxes. And inside that, we have to write another for loop that will loop through all the slot in that box. Okay. So this will be slot index, and it will loop from 0 to the number of slots that we have. All right. And now from here, we can check if the slot at this index is empty. So I'll check if boxes of box index comma slot index is equal to null. And if it's null, then we can just add our Pokemon to this slot, right? And we can just return after that. Okay, so this function will add a Pokemon to the first empty slot in our storage. All right, so now let's go ahead and call that function from here. So first we need reference to the storage boxes. So let me actually cache the reference from the awake function. We can just use the get component function since both these scripts are attached to the player. Okay, and now from here we can use storage boxes dot add Pokemon to empty slot function, and we can add a new Pokemon to it. Okay, so let's go to Unity and try testing this now. So just to make it easier to test, I'll add another Pokemon over here. So now we have 6 Pokemon in our party, and if we catch a new one, it should automatically go to the box, right? So okay, we actually have an error here. Oh, I just returned null, but it doesn't have a data type, so we just have to use return. Okay, so let me try testing it now. All right, so if you look at the box right now, we don't have any Pokemon in the box. And now when we catch a Pokemon, it should be added to the box instead of the party. Okay, so let me try to catch this Pidgey real quick. We'll have to reduce its health a little bit. So I'll just speed this up. All right, so the Pidgey was caught. And now if we look at our boxes, you can see that Pidgey was added to the box instead of the party, right? So that is working fine. So next, let's look at how we can change the boxes from the storage UI. So right now we can only store the Pokemon in our first box, but we do have 16 boxes, right? So we should be able to change the boxes. So let's implement that. So from the Pokemon storage UI, I want to be able to change the boxes by pressing some keys. So I'll just use the Q and E keys from the keyboard. So since we want to handle some custom selection in this selection UI, we'll have to override the handle update function, right? We have already done this process for UIs like inventories. So we do have to override the handle update function, and we have to call the base.handle update so that the selection of slots will still happen. All right. So now from here, we should also be able to switch the boxes by using the Q and E keys on the keyboard. All right. You can use the get button down function in case you also want to add a joystick button for it. But for the sake of the tutorial, I'll just keep it simple. So from here, if the Q key is pressed, then we have to change the box to the previous box. Okay, so we can do that by decrementing the selected box, right? So from here, I'll say selected box is equal to selected box minus 1. All right, and we also have to make sure that this is only done if the selected box is greater than 0. We don't want it to be a negative value, and if it's not greater than 0, then we can set it to the last box. So the last box is box number 16, right? So let's actually expose these variables so that we can use it from here. So I'll create a public property called number of boxes, and I'll just return the number of boxes variable. And let me also do the same for the number of slots in case we need that. All right. So now from here, if the selected box is equal to 0, then we can set it to box number 16, which is storage boxes dot number of boxes, and we have to subtract it by -1 because this is the index, right? So it will be from 0 to 15. And otherwise, if the E key was pressed, then we have to go to the next box. All right. So in that case, we can just increase the value of the selected box, and we can just use a mod over here to make sure that it doesn't go above the number of boxes that we have. All right. So the selected box will be updated if we press any of these keys. And from here, if the selected box was updated, then we have to call this function, right? So first, I'll store the current selection in a variable called previously selected box. All right. And then if the previously selected box is not equal to the currently selected box, that means the box changed. So we have to call this function to change the data that is displayed in the box slots. All right. And then we can also call the update in selection UI just to make sure that the selection and stuff is updated. And we can just return from here. We can deal with the rest of the selection in the next frame. Okay. So another thing I want to do is while changing the box, I also want to change the name of the box in the box heading that we have over here. Okay. So let's get a reference to this text and update it. So from here, I'll create a serialized field reference for the box name text. All right. And then from the update selection in UI function, I'll also update the box name. All right. So here, I'll just display it as box 1, box 2, etc. So we just have to increment the selected box with 1 since this is the index. Okay. So let's go to Unity and try testing this. So first we have to assign this text to this field. And by the way, I just noticed that the box heading is in the left and not the right. So let's actually change that. I'll drag and drop it to the right. And then we can assign the text. Okay. And by the way, we could also add some UI over here to indicate that you can change the box by using the Q and E keys. So I'll just duplicate this box heading to create another one. And I'll call this key indicator or something. Okay. So in this case, I'll change the colors to be opposite. I'll change the text color to black and the background color to white. Okay, let me just make it smaller. I'll make it 35 by 35 and I'll place it over here. For the text, I'll just write Q. Okay, that looks fine. And I'll create another one for the E key. All right, that should be enough for now. So yeah, let's try testing this. So let me open up the boxes and let me just add few Pokemon to this box. Okay, and now if you press the E key, you can see that we switched to the box 2. Okay, pressing Q will bring us back to box 1. And yeah, we can change the box like this. So let's try adding another Pokemon to box 2. All right, and yeah, you can see that we can easily switch between those boxes using these two buttons. Okay, so I'll stop the video here, and in the next video we'll look at how to save the data in the boxes. So thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.